like to say hello. Welcome to Cinema One and Only, number 21. This is for May 8th to May 14th. My name is Mr. J, and this is a sort of explanation of what's on my playlist for this Easter week. I think it's number 8 this week, probably the last week of the Easter season. And we also include in this our dailies. We call the TV series and the continued series that are shown on various TV stations in the past. We have them lined up on the weekdays with the 4 sections every day, 1 disc a day. And we run through series like Smallville, The Flash, Arrow, and a number of other interesting science fiction and superhero type features. And then on the weekends, we have every weekend a 4 movie lineup that we usually have an animated series or a family oriented movie in the first position, and then in the second we have a superhero from the independent comics or X-Men type of movies. And then the third and fourth positions we have for the major superheroes from Marvel and DC, and then the Star Wars and science fiction movies in the last position. But what we have here that you're looking at now is our playlist for the whole week of May 8th to May 14th, and we usually start our playlist off with some really good information about astrology and how to keep in the flow of what's going on around you. This Leo King is an astrologer that has excellent information. We highly recommend him. And then we jump into the news, recent news, but this kind of news is the news you wouldn't see on TV. It's more or less news that has to do with magnetic fields around the Earth and geological things that are happening, some of the prophetic events that are being fulfilled right now. And so we put in between some of these some relaxing music, which is what you're listening to right now. This is harp music, and that's HARP, not the other harp. For those of you that are following our spiritual sections and our other sections that have to do with phenomena, we'll get into that later. After the relaxing music, we have some entertaining footage of a 97-year-old man skydiving. And this is a skydiving video that one of my children gave to my wife on Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, Mom. And Key West footage, a storm front coming through, what it looks like from Key West. Then we have some recent science information going on about the magnetic poles, and again some music to relax and calm you down. And then we have some videos, music videos, and we're finishing up with the latest John Sebastian videos that we've been showing every week. Some of these have songs that we'd like to learn. And we're finishing up with the Woodstock performances. This is an excellent clip of Woodstock in 1969, and most of these clips were lost, and they put them back together again in this footage. They intended to use them in the movie, or in the second movie that they made of Woodstock. And from 1969, we also have a concert by Crosby, Stills, Nash and Young. And in 1982, you can actually see them performing years later. And then our section on local entertainment from CBS Morning Show brings us down to our instrumentals. And Dan Holloway is one of the guitarists that we like to listen to, and if you're a guitar enthusiast, you might like to listen to and play along with him. If you like to sing, you can just sing along with him. Practice songs that we repeat every once in a while. Videos from the drone flights of Devlin, New Hampshire. His videos are excellent. He does really good videos of the Long Sands area. This one here happens to be up in the White Mountains in Stark, New Hampshire. And we've started some new sections with talents from the street performers. As we move into our documentaries around the world, we are following Mongolian heritage. Found this on the Land of Noah. Interesting documentary. And when this prayer comes up, it's sort of a way of leading us into the spiritual information and hoping that we are guided by his enlightenment with these various clips that we have actually listened to, gone over, and given quite a bit of credibility to. And as time goes on, they are getting more and more credible. The actual disclosure is starting to take place right now with Stephen Greer, and the information about the Emerald Tablets of Thoth are being exposed to the world so that you can understand how they tie in with the Anunnaki and the Pleiadians. And David Wilcock is also part of this disclosure program. And if you watch these and would like to see more, go back on my Cinema One and Only from number 1 all the way up to this one, number 21. There are translations being read by the Lost Book of Enki and the Enuma Elish. We're up to tablets 6 and 7 this week. And this series up here before that is Matthew LaCroix's. He put together a 6 or 7 part series that we're almost finished with. Explains a lot about the Aztecs and the Incas, and they're relating this back to biblical times in the Holy Lands and connecting it back again, once again, to the Sumerian tales of Enki and Enlil. And, well, give it a look-see. And if you're interested, watch for it every week. We're going to keep it going. After all that heavy thinking, we need to relax a little bit. It's more violin music. I found the 10 best cover songs that different instrumentals played by different people that are the song Despacito. If you don't remember that, you got to hear it. It's good to exercise by or with. Then we get into our Cinema One and Only actual movie Bijou presentations from the last 100 years. Betty Boop animated, serial movie trailers, previews. This is a Little Rascal short in color. Another preview. Shirley Temple still being featured every week. We have 2 movies this week. And then we have a newsreel from the Nuclear Vault. 1944 in review. That's the year I was born. Chapter 4, Perils of Pauline. 1914. Now that's taking you back over 100 years. This is a silent film, so you will have to do some reading. It's interesting to see and compare these old movies to the way they're making movies now. This is another silent film that follows it with the original Our Gang crew. and World War II black and white color cartoon. These are not kid cartoons. These were made for adults, and they were made in such a way that children could watch them on one level and adults could watch them on another level. And another Little Rascals. By the way, the other Little Rascal that we had programmed earlier was in color. The one that was back here, see, color. So if you're trying to get anyone interested in the Little Rascals, show them the color one first, and then show them this black and white one, which is a little bit later when the R Gang became the Little Rascals. And Jackie Cooper, who was part of the Little Rascals, was in a movie called Peck's Bad Boy from 1938. It's a little over an hour long, but it's very good. And then to top it off, we had the Three Stooges movie a couple of weeks ago, and we have Curly, Larry, and Moe, and Shemp, Larry, and Moe in two Three Stooges movies, followed by a color presentation. Now, this was not originally in color. It has been colorized. Then we get into our series, our movie series. Bulldog Drummond is new this week, in 1938, and I believe this was the first I believe this was the first Bulldog Drummond movie that was in sound. And this was the second one. And this is years later. I'm not sure what the year was on that. But we have three Bulldog Drummond movies this week, followed by some Charlie Chan movies with Warner Oland as Charlie Chan. This is a new actor playing the part, not Sidney Toiler. I think we have three, and we do have Sidney Toiler in a 1942 Charlie Chan. And you can compare the radio shows. There's two radio shows this week. And then we jump into a Chasen Sanborn hour of entertainment with Edgar Bergen and Charlie McCarthy. We finally get another show. We've been 2 weeks now without any Edgar Bergen, Charlie McCarthy shows. Now we got one, and we're back to showing Darcy Lynn Farmer. The ventriloquist section has her evolution from 2014 to 2018. Very entertaining. I hope you like it. Colgate Comedy Hour is with Martin and Lewis this week. And George Burns and Gracie Allen TV show has one of the Marx Brothers as a guest on the show. And Harpo Marx, there it is. So we jump from the TV show to the radio show and get introduced to Harpo Marx. So following that, we have a couple of Marx Brothers clips, which includes a whole show from that time era. And we check in with Jimmy Durante and see what's going on with him. From a radio show, May 13th, this time frame, 1947. And we have two Comic Weekly Man shows, this time from 1952. This leads us into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 Hopalong Cassidy movies this week. Wow. Followed by a Hopalong Cassidy TV show from the 50s. And we have a black and white Cisco Kid. I think this is the only black and white Cisco Kid TV show that I have so far. I had another one, but I don't know what happened to it. They must have taken it down. And we follow that with a color one so you can see, compare the difference between color and black and white. The Three Musketeers. I have to apologize for the Three Musketeers serial we were running. Whoever put it up decided to take it down. So we'll look for it again and see if we can't put it up before the end of the year. Excuse me. Dry throat. Hang on. get a little drink. Okay. Hopalong Cassidy, Gene Autry, and Roy Rogers were the main cowboys of the 1940s, 50s era. And we have a few Gene Autry radio shows. I guess this is a clip from a movie with Gene singing I'm an Old Cowhand. And that's followed by Chapter 9 of Phantom Empire, a movie serial. Then we get into the radio shows from 1952. Gene Autry, Melody Ranch is 1, 2, 3, 4 shows. And then we have a Roy Rogers radio show from May 8th, 1945. And then we jump to a TV show in the 50s with Roy Rogers. And we go back to the 1949 beginning of the color movies for Roy. And this movie and the next one are like sequels to each other. And you watch them and you'll see how they link. They got the same crew and the same storyline just continuing. Then we're back to the Comic Weekly Man from 1953, 1 year later now. And this introduces our science fiction section with Flash Gordon. And we have Tom Corbett to begin with because there were 2 parts to this story. So we won one of the radio shows at the beginning of the science fiction section, and the last one is at the end of the science fiction section. So if you want to see part 2, you have to jump past Flash Gordon, imprisoned by Hawkmen. I think this is the 3rd or 4th episode that was on. And this is the same serial, and we're up to chapter 21 now. I think there are 24, 25, or 26 chapters, so we're getting right up there, almost to the end. And this chapter 3 or 4, whatever this one is, the reason why it's on this week is because this is the actual week that it was played in 1935. And there were certain people that would like to follow it on that day. I make that available in 2 versions. And chapter 9 out of 12 chapters, we're watching the 1936 original Flash Gordon serial. It's like the origin of Flash Gordon. And we're up to episode 2 of Tobor the 8th Man. Now Tobor is robot spelled backwards, and this is an animated version that was geared for high school, late high school, early college students in the 1960s. And back to the late 1950s, the Alligator People, our science fiction movie for the week. And here's part 2 of Tom Corbett, Space Cadet. We're up to letter 4 in Frankenstein. And we're making the Tarzan of the Apes audiobooks available for either 3 or 4 weeks. I think this is the 3rd week now, because it's going to take a while for you to listen to this. I want to make sure that you can get to it really easy, so I put it on this playlist along with the early Tarzan radio shows and a 1952 version of the Tarzan radio shows. These were complete in one story, and Tarzan and the Diamonds of Ashur continued every week for about 60 or 70 weeks, something like that. We're up to episode 21 and it's still going. Same with this one here, Tarzan and the Fires of Tar. That one, there's 39 episodes, and we're up to chapter 9. A couple of previews, and a TV show, another preview. This is a half-hour TV show, the last version that I remember them doing. Then we get into the superhero section. We have a real-life flying Superman to show you this week. And this is my story continues with the 1940s radio Superman. We have a clip from the Perils of Superman. These are very short, only last a minute or so. And this particular clip is the George Reeves version of Superman with all the color landings. Or not all of them, but a lot of them. And then we have a special Superman movie this week. This movie, if you're going to see it, watch the movie Superman Returns with Brandon Routh, because this storyline takes place right after that movie. It was a low budget movie that was made by fans who got a hold of the script that was originally planned to be a sequel for Brandon Routh to make. So they put it together as best they could with what money they had available. And the story is very, very good. Just ignore the special effects. The acting is not bad. And the Superman costume is terrible, but I think you might like watching it because you can see what they did intend to do with the storyline in the next movie. And then we continue with the all superhero cafe clips. Those are funny. I think this one's a half hour long, maybe shorter. And the Avengers Infinity War. This has a lot of spoilers in it, but it's how it should have ended. These are always funny. Prince Namor, we're up to episode 8. Captain America, we are up to chapter 9. And this week we have the very first TV episode of Spider-Man. This was the pilot episode in the 1970s that was aired. And then we get into the Lone Ranger. Now this is where we get the Lone Ranger, Green Hornet, Shadow series all together usually. We have 4 color TV episodes of the Lone Ranger and a color Green Hornet episode. So we jump right away back to the radio show of Whatever Became Of, because this show is about the Green Hornet. In 1975, we find out whatever became of the Green Hornet. So while we're in the radio show section, let's catch up with Fibber McGee and Molly. Gunsmoke. We have a couple of Gunsmoke shows this week. And we bring Mickey Rooney into the radio show section with the Hardy family. They were made a number of Hardy family movies in the 40s, quite popular. So they started doing the storyline with the same actors that were in the movies on radio. These are only 15-minute episodes and usually continued from one episode to the next. Very good. Ozzie and Harriet had their own radio show on the air and occasionally guest starred on other shows. This one they're guest starring in is called Suspense. It was a late in the evening show, not for kids, but for adults, and it was usually followed by some drama type of show like Mercury Theater on the Air. This week we have The Count of Monte Cristo. Then we jump up to the TV area. We jump up to the TV section. There we go. And these are, as you can see, intros to TV shows from the 1950s. And we're up to episode 18 of the Mickey Rooney Hey Mulligan TV show, followed by, again, Life of Riley, and not with William Bendix, but with Jackie Gleason. Those are hard to find. Topper, Christmas Carol. We will probably repeat that at Christmas time. Boston Blackie was a TV show. This is a Dick Tracy TV show, followed by chapter 2 of a serial, Dick Tracy. And this is the second serial, Dick Tracy Returns. We're up to chapter 6 in that one. And the last week of Easter in our spiritual section, we have the movie The Gospel of John from 2003, the full movie, followed by the Acts of the Apostles, the Holy Bible movie version. And then, of course, we have our Lakeland video that we end our playlist with. And at the end, we also have started adding earthquake reports because we're starting to get a lot of earthquakes right now. So we will tag these at the end. The most explanative, how do I say that? The one that tells you the most information during the week between May 8th and May 14th, I'm going to try to set up here at the end of the week. And this week I have an extra uncut with the Leo King because he did a special edition for people between May 11th and May 17th. So you want to hear that ahead of time, catch it now, and I'll probably put that on next week again. And this is the week that ends the 70 years of Israel's becoming a country. And the celebration, as a matter of fact, is today. They are making prophecy come true. And if you'd like to know more about that 70 year and the prophecy from Psalm 90, this is an excellent, excellent clip to catch up your information on. And also at the end, I'm trying to add the weekly horoscope for next week so you can get a head start on the horoscope, or a little jump on it anyway. And that's it for our playlist. What I'd like to show you now is what's going on at Cinema One and Only on the dailies. Put this out of the way here. Alright. Let's take the zoom off so we can bring it down. Aren't these beautiful? I love these pictures. Just thought I'd entertain you a little bit before I start with the Cinema One and Only. Whoa, not Flash, nope, Smallville, that's right. We are in the 10th season of Smallville this week. And this is the last of Smallville. My critics say you have to hold the camera still. I'm trying, believe me. Soon as Smallville finishes, then we move into the Flash. Didn't mean to show you that. The complete first season of the Flash. This is not the old Flash that we've already put up on the dailies. This is the new Flash. That's his villainous, evil counterpart. But, where are the pictures? There he is. This is the Flash. And then, the next position on the dailies, one disc a day from 4 different sections. This is the second section, which would be Arrow, and we are up to the second season of Arrow now. We need a little bit more light in here, I think. And in the third position, we're doing science fiction movies. And when those were finished, we continued with Dune, the series, and then the Children of Dune, Forbidden Planet. And on this set is also The Invisible Boy, which has Robbie the Robot that's in this movie, also in that one. And King Kong. That's the newer version of King Kong. This is on the daily still. And also King Kong and Son of Kong. Then on the weekends, we start off this week with Catwoman for our family section. Instead of an animated feature like Peter Pan this week, it's the women take over. Elektra is our featured in the second section, and this is a good version. This is the director's cut. It's a lot better than the theatrical version that we saw. So Elektra is going to be followed this week by Batman Forever. A new actor playing Batman this week, Val Kilmer. He only made one movie as Batman. And then the last section for the weekend is the Star Trek movie, the motion picture Star Trek, the very first one. All right. So, I guess you'd say that's it from Cinema One and Only this week. And I can't think of anything else I need to tell you. So, until next week, I hope we see you back here again. If you have any constructive criticisms or anything you'd like to add, let me know down at the bottom underneath this clip. So until next week, enjoy the playlist, look for those movies, and have a good week.